that's not it. So then what is it?
She was just messing with them, obviously. Like
messing with them is a vague term. Be more specific.
Hi, baby.
That was a vague term, honestly. No.
And by the way, you can legally mess with ICE agents if messing with them means saying words. You were well within your legal right, okay, to look at an ICE agent and scream, "Hey, fuck you, you're goddamn pig," because that's what the founders.
Well, you're the one who initiated the conversation,
and the drafters of the Constitution give us the ability to do. So, are you arguing that this white woman was terrible for invoking her First Amendment right?
Oh, did she or did she not end up initiating the action that got Alex Purdy killed?
Initiating what action?
She was fucking. I mean, I haven't seen the full video from her angle.
Let me give you a direct answer to that question. The direct answer to the question, did she initiate the action that got Alex Purdy killed, would be no. The person who initiated the action that got Alex Purdy killed was the lawless ICE thug who pulled the trigger.
Listen, Dean, when I wanted to talk about ICE, the one thing I did not want to talk about was Alex Purdy, because I understand how bad this is. I don't think this is good for the United States, dude. Like,
okay, so now I want a second concession. That white woman that you seem to want to attack so much did nothing wrong, because I gave you multiple opportunities to specifically enumerate anything that she did.
Dean, she got pushed into a pile of snow.
You can't tell me.
She got pushed into a pile of snow, and then
he ended up losing his life. So what is the evidence that the ICE agent pushed her with good reason? Because we've seen ICE agents pushing people with no reason at all. I mean, there's a clip circulating maybe around a month ago of an ICE agent falling on ice, getting up and then just pushing the nearest bystander to the ground. So, I mean, if we just want to assume that every single time an ICE agent pushes an American citizen, they're justified, well, I gotta say, that's pretty insane. So, what did she do to deserve to be pushed that, I mean, you think is more important to discuss than the governing administration over this country, defending lawless thugs, acting as agents of the states, murdering citizens in clear daylight, then labeling the murdered citizen as a domestic terrorist?
Listen, I haven't seen the Alex Purdy video since the day it happened. I haven't really done too much on it, but I do understand that she didn't do anything that necessarily should have reacted in a push, but the people are acting like this lady was being assaulted in a terrible way. She got pushed into a pile of snow.
Then you concede that you're engaged in misogyny or sexism, for instance, because definitionally speaking, just one moment, I apologize for interrupting you, but this is important. Definitionally speaking, misogyny is the unjustified prejudice against women, and obviously unjustified prejudice.
Well, obviously the ICE agent wasn't attacking her just because he was
holding to a preconceived negative notion with no good reason. So in other words, we can now extrapolate and understand the definition of the word misogyny to be holding a preconceived negative notion against a woman.
Woo! So you're trying to get me to give a concession.
One moment. And seemingly you just conceded that's exactly what you're doing to this woman. You said, Dean, I'm holding this negative preconceived notion against this woman, okay? Labeling her as this issue freedom fighter, whatever the hell you're saying. And then I just got you to know the fact that you have no reason to hold that negative preconception about her. So by definition, you're anti-misogyny.
So are you trying to get me to give you a verbal concession that I'm misogynistic about the ICE officer himself by pushing her when he was a misogynistic act?
If you want to concede that definitionally speaking, that is misogyny, that'd be great, but I certainly don't expect you to.
I mean, because in my mind, like, I come up here with 100% honesty and no bias. You know, I know what goes on in my mind. Like, this objective nonsense. It's like, this is what I see through these videos. It's strictly what I've seen in these protests. Trying to be crazy. I've seen protests all throughout the world. I see what's going on there, and I see you want to say something.
Did she break up with you?
I never dated the lady who got pushed into the snowball.
This has to be coming from somewhere, my friend. Did she break up with you? Did she break up with you? I mean, dude, you came up onto a live where we're discussing American politics and the fact that our president wants to be a goddamn dictator, reigning tyranny down this country and countries abroad. And it seems like we really want to spend time discussing is, your negative thoughts and feelings of white women. So what I think is the case is you dated a white woman and she broke up with you, guys.
I am in fact dating a white woman, actually, but it has nothing to do with the color of their skin or
So
their female
when did she
body.
tell you that she doesn't love you anymore, but she wants to try to
So, Dean, we've heard like 4 ad-hominems.
like I said, an ad hominem. Listen, like I said, an ad hominem is when you attack somebody to dispute their argument. I'm just doing it for the love of the game, man. I mean, it's more so like a psychoanalysis.
So that was just
counter argument.
basically admitting to
easy as you can to attack her. And so now this is, I mean, it has to be coming from somewhere, right?
You got me, dude. You got me. No, I was trying to talk about, like, I was just trying to talk about ICE as a whole. And I mean, you brought up Alex Purdy first. Honestly, obviously, I know why. It was the most recent event that happened. Therefore, it makes sense that you would bring it up. But I still think that the only reason this happened was because Alex Purdy was trying to be like these other people. Like,
And like, there's no reason for them not to say you're innocent. Sorry, I'll just unplug my mic.
I wasn't even gonna. I want to talk about like ICE in general, not really Alex Purdy, because I mean, I'm an American citizen, and like I said, I don't think it was completely justified there, but I also see why it happened. How it wouldn't happen to most people who like when I brought up Howard House in the first place because I was gonna say no one brings a gun to a protest to impede law enforcement. And people go, look how Howard House are starting to say, you probably think he's a loose dude. I don't know. I kept Howard House as a loser who went there to attack me. Just like that dude. It seems like he went there to start problems. And yeah. I'm gonna talk about ICE in general, just deportation. I don't really want to talk about Alex Purdy.
Okay, so you don't really care that he was murdered because you think that he quote unquote went there to cause problems. They actually went there to solve problems. I mean, he literally caught a woman as she was falling to the ground, so that's solving a problem, right?
Yeah, he didn't catch her, dude. She fell into snow, dude.
No,
She fell into snow.
she fell into it, and if it wasn't for his arm stabilizing her, she would have gone to the ground.
And the first day I seen when one of the videos, it was either you or someone was posting it on Twitter. She fell into snow, dude. I mean, it sucks. No one should catch her. That's why she
He stabilized her with the arm. There's a high chance that if he wasn't there, she would have fallen to the ground, regardless if that was on
So,
foot.
Dean, can I get a
That's
verbal
solving a
concession?
problem.
Can I get a verbal concession that if that lady wasn't impeding the rest of law enforcement, that Alex Purdy would still be alive today?
How do you know that she was a baby?
I mean, because she fucking was recording them and like messing with them. I know. Obviously, like you said, recording obviously in itself is not.
Recording the instructions.
That's the thing. That's why I didn't want to talk about Alex Purdy because I haven't done enough research.
Come on, bro. You just asked me to concede on this, and I'm giving you pushback. Then you want to stop talking about it? So which one is it? Do you want me to concede to your claim, or do you want me to give you pushback against it?
I know you want to get a verbal concession right now, so obviously I was just trying to.
Well, of course, I'm not going to concede to something that if it was false, you said, "Hey, can you concede?" But if it wasn't for obstruction, Alex Purdy would simply lie to me. I'm asking you, how did you obstruct?
That's just from my understanding that she was
Okay,
obviously.
well, then help me understand your position better. How did she obstruct?
You can answer that better than me. She was there doing something.
Well, see, the thing is I can't answer that better than you because I don't think she was obstructing. Unless
The 30% is coming from the fact that he shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have been. He was resisting it. When he was ICE officer, the killer ain't dead. There's no jail.
what is the legal standard that authorizes LEOs to use lethal force?
I would assume a threat to them. Don't really know. A threat to officers, I was a.
No.
Well, I'm not a lawyer, so you can tell me if you know the answer.
Okay. In accordance with the totality of the circumstances, was there a reasonable immediate threat reported to the life of the officer or the lives of those around him? That's the legal standard.
I mean, when they see they're not, obviously, if you have a. See, that's what I mean. I don't know the laws perfectly. So I'm not studying law right now, but.
So now that you understand that that is the legal standard that authorizes LEOs to engage in use of lethal force, you now understand why you have no basis to argue that the shooting was 30%
Well, I feel like you just gave me a basis.
You should now understand why your position that they were 30% justified is baseless and incoherent. Because that position was, well, he was trying to evade. Well, he was trying to resist. Well, he shouldn't have been there in the first place. I think all three of those statements are false. But even if we assume them to be true, those three positions have absolutely no bearing on the basis that a reasonable threat to the life of the officer. The very lucid and big argument that he should have been in the first place doesn't mean there's a reasonable threat to the life of the officer.
I mean, he literally brought himself there with a weapon. Just.
Yeah, and in doing so was
I was
actually
going to continue.
constitutional rights. So,
I understand our amendments, Dean. I know. Thank you.
so he did something totally legal. So doing totally legal things gives the right to cops to kill you. Really.
Well, I don't really know the whole semantics of resisting arrest when you have a weapon on you. I mean, that's obviously some type of
He doesn't even know. So resisting arrest. threat to the life of any officer. But we have to remember that he was actually DNR before he was shot, and he wasn't resisting arrest.
Alright, I mean, see, that's the thing. I'm not coming up here to be ignorant, dude. I will give you a verbal concession that was a complete justified murder. Like,
Can we do something real quick?
sure.
Scott, will play the video of him getting killed. I'm gonna pause it right before he does get killed.
Will I be able to see it? Or
Yes. For everyone watching this TikTok team us, I'm going to pause this video, okay? Right? And more specifically, I want you to pause this video. That it's clear Alex Perry was resisting arrest. Just give me a minute.
You're starting when he's already on the ground, though, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Let's show him grabbing, like, reaching for the ICE officer's hand, right? Didn't we just say that earlier?
Yeah, that would be resisting arrest under obstruction. Was that under arrest at the point?
Obstruction.
Virtue of the fact that he was dogfighting, he necessarily had to be resisting. Okay, so then why is he resisting?
I mean, you can see in the clear video, this obviously is like a 360p video. You can see him using his legs to push himself up, like you would do.
Wait, when do we see that?
I mean, I can't see Jack literally squat in this video, dude.
Yes, you can. You can see Steve Bottom. This is actually the highest quality footage that we have of him, as it is from the angle of the lady wearing the pink jacket, and it is stabilized. So this is like legitimately the highest quality video that we have of the interaction. Like from the beginning, tell me when it becomes clear that he's like using his legs to try to push them off and stand up. In fact, we're gonna slow it down. Playback.
Okay, well, he's on his back right now, correct?
Playback speed. He's on his hands and knees. Playback speed times 5. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna slow it down. Tell me when he's like pushing, using his legs to push off to resist.
That man has his legs right there. His stuff is sitting right there. I mean, he's in a dog pile right now, dude. That obviously that's uncomfortable. That's
Okay, has he resisted yet?
No, I'm not gonna I don't see anything yet. I mean, I can't really see much right now.
Oh wait, there's a shot. He's dead. Fuck, I guess he didn't resist before he was shot. Right?
I mean, I can't really see much. I'm not trying to come up here and be like,
So you can't see him resisting.
yeah, I'm not gonna come up here and lie to you. No, I didn't really see too much there, but obviously, deep down, it's hard to resist when there's 4 trained officers on top of you.
Yeah, I agree, which just gives us more reason to believe that he wasn't resisting.
They were holding him down for a reason, though, because
Also trained, funny, 47 days. You have to go through more training to become a goddamn leader.
Don't you also have to have prior experience in law enforcement to be a nice officer? I'm pretty sure you do. Don't you need a year right there?
No, you need prior experience as an LEO to become like a high-ranking official, but not as one of these masked ones.
See, this is I was in the. I mean, I'm glad we're talking about Oxford because I'm not really upset. I was only in the queue for about 10 minutes, but I really don't want to talk about Oxford because I know you're going to say, yeah, because it makes it uncomfortable because I know he was murdered.
Okay, I have this question. Why do you believe that Alex Pretty resisted? Like, you have no evidence that he resisted.
I mean, we've seen him reaching for officers that did. You said that's a peak. So he's already in the room right there.
So I said that it could maybe be legally that he was obstructing when he was being pepper sprayed. When he was being pepper sprayed, and he stuck his hand out and touched the pepper spray instrument of the officer. But that potential obstruction is not resisting arrest. Those are 2 different things. You said he was resisting arrest.
I'll concede to it, dude, and I won't bring up Alex Purdy anymore.
Do you concede that the Trump administration is defending his murder?
I mean, it's pretty objective that they're defending because he's getting charged.
So let's make clear. You support an administration that is defending his murder, the senseless murder of American citizens in the streets of this country.
See, these attitudes and like it's not a senseless murder. It's a man. It's a man.
1 second.
It's a senseless. Yeah.
Because murder is by definition unjustified, it is therefore also by definition senseless. Because if there was sense to it, then it would not be unjustified.
I'll get the concession.
So why do you support a presidential administration that is defending the senseless murder of American citizens in the streets of this country?
None of this would have happened, though, Dean, if it wasn't for all the protests protesters. Like this is people are.
Can you answer my question? I don't feel like I'm hearing you answer my question. Why are you defending a presidential administration that is defending the senseless murder of American citizens in the streets of this country?
An American citizen, not American citizens. Renee, come on.
I'm not going to
Talk out.
So, answer my
That's
question.
that's being classified as an American citizen.
So, don't worry, I guess I get you to concede that.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my truthful answer, okay? I will give you my concession that I was wrong based off the facts that I did not have enough information on the Alex Purdy case before this. I have not done enough research. I really have not. If Alex Purdy did not resist and he was just impeached because he said that was fine, he said something like that. I know, I'm trying to, I'm absolutely, I'm wrong.
You're just building. So you no longer support Trump? So you're not defending his administration?
See, that's not it with that. That's not it. Listen,
This is so easy. Cool. Now so why are you defending and supporting the Trump administration when they are defending and supporting the senseless murder of an American citizen in the streets of this country?
I mean, the Trump administration said that he was fighting back. That's their exact words.
Their exact words were also, he's a domestic terrorist. So, answer the question, please.
Because my answer was I did not have enough information. I gave him full concession.
I don't think after all of the information I gave you that led to the census murder, do you still support the Trump administration?
This is one of those things where you're trying to get me, but it's just like
I just want to say, honest answer. Yes or no?
because I can look past the bad justice that
So if the answer is yes,
in my mind, like I said before, I keep saying I'm forgetting. And still to this day, no matter what, no matter how unjust that it was, I was pretty sure in that situation. I don't think he should have done that. I think if he just stayed home, watched some Dean Withers on YouTube, just stayed in his hive mind chat, he would have been fine. But I admit that I'm wrong, Dean.
wow, that statement of 5 words says it about you. And I think that truly exposes exactly where we're at today. This guy just said it. Holy shit. The reason why he still is defending the Trump administration, arguing that this is our president, to support, is because all of the people they're senselessly murdering could have still been alive if they just complied and stayed inside. It is not comply or die. It is not stay inside or die. We have rights given to us by the Constitution. And in fact, the people that gave us those rights in the Constitution, the founders of the United States of America, they were the original ones who didn't stay inside and fought a war, the Revolutionary War.
The people who wrote the Constitution did not think this was a assembly, Dean.
Those are the ones, okay? They're the ones that didn't comply. They're the ones that fought for the rights in the Constitution. They are the ones, okay, that didn't stay inside. And by the way,
This is not what our
this
forefathers
suggestion,
wanted, Dean. This is not what our forefathers.
yeah, they didn't want people like you, scrawny little chud mags imbeciles, spending their time defending murder by arguing that, well, they just forfeited their constitutional rights to freedom of protest, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, Second Amendment rights, Fourth Amendment rights, and 14th Amendment rights, and Fifth Amendment rights to right of due process, right of gun ownership, and permitted carry and decide holster that they deserve to die. So that actually didn't
When the officer deems that the level of force necessary would be lethal force.
What did Alex Purdy do to a reasonable officer to make that determination?
What I'm telling you is, outside looking in with this benefit of hindsight, my personal opinion is being able to see all the angles and being able to freeze frame it and walk
Forgo the hindsight. Forgo the hindsight. What did he do?
understand what the term murder means. And I don't think anybody who went there to murder him. I think what happened was a very unfortunate situation. I think he stepped in to help a woman out, and I think an overtaxed ICE population who is at their wits' ends from getting like just crushed on a daily basis over there, put them both in a situation where now you got 6 ICE agents dogpiling on this guy who stepped in front of himself to help a woman, and as soon as he hit that ICE officer's wrist to not hit the can away from spraying them all in the face, the ICE agent and the 5 guys that were with him now have a green light because they see assault, because that's how they were trained. So if you look at it from an objective point of view and stop using terms like murdered or assassinated, you could realize that this is a bad situation that happened because both sides' rhetoric is ridiculous. And using words like murder and assassination are equally as bad as brandishing and domestic terrorist. They're the same. Both sides are saying the same, and they need to stop. They need to. Because murdering somebody, I believe, has to, number one, have intent, that they came out on purpose to intend it, or to murder him.
So you
I think
think that the ICE agents unintentionally shot him?
No, I think they shot him to.
So just to clarify, the ICE agents had intent. So then why do you think it was murder?
I don't think they had intent to neutralize.
They
You
unloaded.
can shoot a person without killing. You can shoot a person without killing him.
Second,
You can
they
also.
unloaded their magazines in his body. When you unload
Correct.
a magazine of a firearm in somebody else's body, you intend to kill them.
I disagree. I could shoot 9 times in your leg. I could shoot you 9 times in your leg. I could shoot you 9 times in your leg, and you would not die.
Okay, so if you shot 10 times, you'd be intended. That would be attempted murder. Second of all, they didn't shoot him in his leg. They shot him center mass in his back. When you shoot somebody 12 times center mass in their back, you intend to kill them.
Was he shot 10 times or 12 times? Because this is what you do. You change numbers and you try to inflate things to make it happen. What we don't know right now is how many shots were put on each cop. I mean, there were 7 cops there. What if they each shot twice? Then we can say, well, I guess they were,
When you shoot somebody with a gun, you have intention to kill. That's just like what it is. I thought that this was like obvious. I thought that this was like common sense. I thought that this is something that everyone in America could agree to. Okay? Both morally and legally speaking, when you have a gun, you point it at somebody, you pull the trigger, and then they die. You intentionally kill them. It's obvious. Like, think about it this way. There is not one adjudicated scenario of manslaughter which would be killing somebody unintentionally, where the perpetuator of manslaughter picked up his firearm, pointed it at another human, pulled the trigger, and then they died. All scenarios where you pick up your gun, you pull the trigger after pointing it at somebody, and they die, it is intentional, especially considering what happened to Alex Brittany. The shots were center mass in his back. If you were to start arguing that what happened to Alex Brittany was not intentional, then all of a sudden, the ISIS executions of setting somebody on their knees and ripping their head off wasn't intentional either. Photos from 1930s Germany, where the Jewish people were on their knees were Nazi soldiers behind them and got to that. That's not intentional. This isn't even a question. Why are you dying on this hill? In fact, here's my question for you. I want you to give
I
me...
have my microphone turned back on, please.
Yes,
Thank you, Shelby.
here's the question that I want you to answer. Can you please give me one scenario in the United States of America ever where somebody has taken a gun, pointed it at somebody else, pulled the trigger, that other person died, and then the shooter was found guilty of manslaughter, and a court determined that it was unintentional?
You asked me if I thought he was murdered. I am not disagreeing that he was killed. I don't think he was murdered. My question to you, before you shut my microphone off, was, do you think murder is different than kill? Because I agree they intended to kill him.
I that's impossible to answer, because when you take a gun, point it at somebody, and you pull the trigger and they die, that is all
I just got done saying, Dave, you're not listening to me. I believe they intended to kill him. I don't think they murdered him.
That's not what you're arguing.
That's
First and foremost, that's not what you're arguing. Your first line of defense.
100%.
Yeah, so have you ever seen like those ads on Instagram for games?
Yeah, I've seen those too. Clash of Clans. I'm having a hard time today because the guests that are joining this live stream are either Dexter or dishonest or both. Right now, you're being dishonest because your first line of defense, contrary and against the claim that Alex Reigns' murder was by attempting to argue that the agents did not have intent when they shot him. They shoot him in his leg or when it But now that you've agreed that they had the intent to kill him, you now have to be able to give an argument that somehow the killing was justified because given his intention. So what is the argument that the killing of Alex Petty was justified?
The legal argument that's going to come into play, which is how these things always play out, is whether or not the agents thought that it was necessary to use that level of force to neutralize him. It's the same conversation we had 2 weeks ago about Renee Good. Is that guy in a state where we thought he was reasonable for him to think that he could get ran over by that car? And that's what it's going to come down to. And if there is a guy resisting arrest on the ground, he didn't lay down, put his hands behind his back. He was trying to get back. He did a push-up and tried to get back into a seated position or into an all-fours position. He was struggling. He was wrestling. You're giving those guys a window to say he's resisting. I had to use force. I heard this other guy use a gun. Then I heard a gunshot, which from what I can tell on the internet sounds like the first agent that pulled that gun out of his waist, he actually fired that first shot on accident. And it set the other officers off. So the whole thing is terrible. Never should have happened. But I don't think those ICE agents hopped out of that vehicle with the intent to murder him. And I don't think you think that either. I just think you use those kind of terms to ratchet up the drama. Just like
You're absolutely flailing. You just don't have an argument because keep in mind here, the definition of the word murder is the intentional and justified killing of a human being. Or you agree that it's intentional. Now, I have to use the reason that it's unjustified. The reason why it's unjustified to shoot and kill Alex Reddy is because Alex Reddy did not demonstrate any immediate threat to any of the ICE agents. An immediate and reasonable threat, either of serious bodily injury or of death. First and foremost, the second, fourth, and fifth. Protected and safeguarded, okay, the Americans' right to be in possession of a firearm. If you are in possession of a firearm, this does not demonstrate an immediate threat to the officer, to an officer's life. That was also adjudicated in Connor v. Graham. Was armed, his knees and arms. One agent went onto the back of him, took his firearm, took it away. Meanwhile, the other agent saw that agent take his firearm away. There's absolutely no justification for killing him because Alex Reddy reported no immediate threat to that's okay? Like, listen, can we agree, okay, that the ICE agents who shot Alex Reddy were not justified in shooting Alex Reddy because Alex Reddy did not demonstrate any immediate threat to their lives?
I agree with you on that.
Okay, so you think that Alex Reddy demonstrated an immediate threat to their lives?
I do not know.
If he didn't demonstrate an immediate threat to their lives, then you agree that the shot was unjustified?
No.
Yes, no, that's the standard, Graham v. Connor, okay? The standard for self-defense at the end of LEOs is that you are only authorized to use lethal force if who you are using lethal force against either purports an immediate threat to your life or the life of the
Right, so the question becomes, is it reasonable to think that those officers thought there was a threat to their life?
Except that the standard for self-defense, okay, would be a person immediately reporting a threat to you to your life or someone else's life?
Yes.
Okay, did Alex Pretty demonstrate an immediate threat to their lives?
My opinion is no.
Okay, so then
But that's not.
it was unjustified.
No. Here's
Would a
where.
reasonable officer have done the same thing in their scenario?
That's the question. I'm not.
In your life or someone else's life?
Yes.
Okay, did Alex Pretty demonstrate an immediate threat to their lives?
My opinion is no.
Okay, so then
But that's not.
it was unjustified.
No. Here's
Would a
where.
reasonable officer have done the same thing in their scenario?
That's the question.
Let's just watch the video together. Let's just watch the video together. This is on Okay, Alex Pretty is down on all four. Okay, you can now see in this still Agent wearing gray sweatshirt take Alex Pretty's gun out of his waistband. And do you see that officer standing over Alex Pretty? He can clearly see, okay, the agent wearing the gray sweatshirt taking it out of his waistband. Right now, that officer behind him is now drawing his gun. No shots have been fired, okay? And the ICE agent wearing the gray sweatshirt is taking the gun out of Alex's waistband. His gun's out. Okay, now we can see the agent standing behind Alex. His gun is out of his holster, and Alex no longer has his firearm. Okay, at this point in time, the agent behind Alex then points it at his back, pulls the trigger, and he's dead. They have killed Alex Pretty.
With that information, and that's my whole point, Dean, is you have the ability, I don't know if anyone in your family,
You are in a high energy endeavor, crazy. And he's dead. Would a reasonable officer have killed Alex Pretty?
with that information, no. And that's my whole point, Dean, is you have the ability, I don't know if anyone in your family is law enforcement or you know anybody in law enforcement, but it's real easy to sit here, Monday morning quarterback, frame by frame, and talk through what you think should have happened. And I agree with you. I don't think Alex Pretty should be dead. I don't think he should have been killed. But what it's gonna come down to, and this is why the left and the right always get upset when the announcements come out 6 months later and it goes through an investigation. The question is, do those officers think in those split seconds that there was a reason to use?
Holy shit, listen, I understand what you're saying. You're basically saying that we have the benefit of hindsight. They didn't, okay? And our benefit of hindsight has given us clarity on the scenario that they didn't have something justified. I get what you're saying. I get it. But in this scenario, you're just completely off base. What we just watched was him being on the ground. We watched an ICE agent take his gun, and then we watched an ICE agent shoot him in the back. The benefit of hindsight is irrelevant. Maybe if this scenario wasn't as cut and dry as it was, I would be saying something else right now. Maybe if, like, Alex reached for his gun and took it out of his holster, you know, maybe this benefit of hindsight is an argument that you'd be able to use. Maybe if, you know, I don't know, he turned around and then reached for it, this benefit of hindsight would be a reasonable argument for you to use. But because it's so, like, clear, because it's so cut and dry, because it's so Alex was on the ground in all fours, an ICE agent took his gun, then he was shot and killed. You were being an apologist to disgusting murder, no doubt about it. And I am so frustrated that people like you exist. I am. We would be a significantly better country if you didn't think the way you are. If it was World War II, Nazi Germany's doing their thing, you would with your beliefs, be agreeing with the Nazis. Imagine if we were back right before the Civil War, and with your line of thought, you'd be agreeing with the Confederates. Like, this is clear It's not the benefit of hindsight that is making it reasonably obvious that this is murder. Okay? Without that benefit, it's still reasonably obvious when this is murder. Whenever you kill an unarmed man because he's down on all fours by shooting him in his back, you are a murderer, stone cold.
That there are many factors that play into when these guys think that he's an imminent threat. They found during the struggle one gun on his body. A reasonable officer might assume maybe he's got two guns. Maybe he's got a knife. Maybe he's got. If you talk to people in law enforcement, they would tell you that during struggles, the way that they are trained is to neutralize the threat when they decide that the threat is rises to the level to be lethal force.
You're wrong.
So-
You're wrong. So the U.S. Constitution, particularly the Second, Fourth, and 14th Amendment, prohibit officers from shooting citizens merely for being in possession of a weapon.
I didn't say for being in possession of the weapon. I said when the officer deems that the level of force necessary would be lethal force. That's what I said.
So I guess my question for you is, what did Alex Brady do to lead a reasonable officer to make that determination? What did he do?
So what I'm telling you is, from the outside looking in with this benefit of hindsight, my personal opinion is seeing the angles and being able to freeze frame it.
Forgo the hindsight. What did he do?
If you forgo the hindsight and you don't see all that, you go from one of those officers' point of view or two of those officers' point of view, the guy on the front, the guy on the back, the guy on the side. He might say, well, I heard my fellow. He was struggling and trying to resist, and then one of the officers yelled, gun, gun, gun. The other officer sees a gun come out, and they hear shots fired. It would be reasonable for an officer who doesn't have all that information that you get to sit here and freeze frame and point
They hear
to.
shots fired. So you mean the shots fired by the ICE agent at Alex?
By the gun coming from the ICE agent in the back. Yeah, that's why I said it's an unfortunate situation.
Okay. So what did Alex do to justify being shot with that first bullet?
Alex didn't get shot with the first bullet. Bullet was fired from Alex's gun by the ICE officer when he pulled it out of his
What's the evidence of
out of
that?
his waist. When I review the tape, there's a video on the internet right now that shows a small, like not like a puff of smoke, but almost like it seems to me like that gun was discharged when he pulled it out.
Okay.
And he has it in his hand and he's spinning away. I think the first rifle officer in this. Here's the thing. I don't have all this equipment. I don't have the stuff, so I can't. I'm telling you my opinion. I'm telling you my opinion. In sitting here, getting the opportunity to look at all this, we can see the whole picture. When they sit in front of court of law, the question is going to be what a reasonable officer would do in a struggle with an armed assailant.
So first
Have the grounds and have it rise.
First and foremost, I'm gonna need evidence for that claim. Second of all, even if that claim was true, that's all the ICE officer, not Alex, and it's still not reasonable given the totality of the circumstances. Do you agree that given the totality of the
It's not reasonable in
it's
whose
not reasonable?
opinion. It's not reasonable in whose opinion. If you have all the information that you
Of
think,
a reasonable person.
yeah, but you're using yourself as the reasonable person, and you have the benefit of hindsight. That's why we have investigations. This is why we have.
This is why I'm asking you, without the benefit of hindsight, what the fuck did Alex do to justify? In my opinion, to solidify my facts. Hop in that queue. Is because it's actually impossible to ask an unreasonable person, okay, what a reasonable person would do.
Hey, Dan, how you doing?
Hey, welcome, Matt. What do you want to add on?